The 12 people we are familiar with are sitting around a long, cold table, and the candlelight casts each person's shadow on the uneven stone wall. The man sitting in the main seat bowed his head to break bread, and he is the leader who is usually called rabbi by everyone. When he raised his head, there was no airs in his eyes, but when he said that someone would betray me tonight, his voice suddenly became as deep as a piece of linen soaked in water. As soon as these words came out, the table immediately exploded. Peter, who was the most restless, stared at Judah diagonally opposite. Let's focus on Judah, this ruthless man who broke the past and smiled traitor, the image of a traitor. When he touched the silver coins in his purse for the first time, his fingers trembled as if he had been electrocuted. He quickly clenched his hands, but he couldn't help but touch the metal again and again, as if what he held in his hands was not silver coins but red-hot charcoal. At night, he hid in the sheepfold with the lamb in his arms bleeding, but he cried to the shadow until he was in a daze. He muttered to himself, "It's not me who wants to sell him. It's them who force me. It's him who needs someone to be this evil person." Later, when he dropped the silver coin at the feet of the chief priest, his tears were louder than the sound of the silver coin falling to the ground. What do you think? Was this a betrayal or a fate that had already been written? Everyone at the dinner table had their own plans. Thomas kept wiping the clay pot, but his hands were actually shaking. Little James stared at her sandals and dared not look up, because she had just overheard the chief priest sending someone to follow her this morning. And what about the teacher? He instructed his companions one by one. When he touched the old cob at Peter's feet, he saw that the hands that healed people stopped on the old cob left by the word wood, and at this moment they were wiping the mud off the feet of their classmates bit by bit, as if they wanted to stuff the last bit of tenderness into the hearts of these people who were about to scatter. The teacher held up the cake and said, "This is my body." He held up the wine glass and said, "This is my blood." Some people were silent, and some were trembling, just like the feeling of powerlessness when we face an unchangeable ending, wanting to grasp but having to let go. So, how can this be a story from 2,000 years ago? This story from 2,000 years ago is clearly a mirror shining into everyone's heart. Who has not experienced the tug of trust and betrayal? Who has not gritted his teeth and compromised between ideals and reality? Just like the flickering oil lamp in Yandong, people's hearts are never black and white. Those hesitations, struggles, and even the mistakes that had to be made, the Last Supper, are not so much a prophecy of betrayal as it is a struggle of 12 people on the chessboard of fate. Do you think Judas regretted it in the end? Can Peter really face his cowardice calmly?